It is time to prepare to trade the best setups at the best prices. The stock market is setting up for a highly predictable, lucrative trading opportunity. I'm going to be walking you through step by step the key levels of interest on where we are planning to trade at. Key levels to go long, buy calls, key levels to go short, buy puts. How to determine and confirm if a level is reacting bullish or bearish. How to determine and confirm if the overall trend is bullish or bearish. How to determine and confirm if a trend reversal is occurring. I'm going to walk you through step by step our newly updated game plan in terms of today. We absolutely crushed it once again. G-Roar ended up going 7 for 8, 7 wins, 1 losses, and one of the wins we had was another 1000% gain. I'm going to be breaking down the trades towards the end of this overall video. I absolutely crushed as well, going 1 for 1 on the SPY, trading 0-day options. We're going to get in on that. So first things first, let's get straight into the overall daily chart analysis. Then we're going to get into the 10-day, 30-minute chart pattern, breaking down the new key levels of interest on where we're planning to trade. So in terms of the SPY, as you can see, the SPY ended up gapping down. And as I had told you, if the SPY gaps down, one of our best levels for calls is going to be at that oversold 687 level. My one options trade on the day was actually buying calls. As you can see right here, I ended up buying 687 calls when they were barely out of the money at 12:08 p.m. Those ended up closing deep in the money, over 300 cents a contract. I was in at 103, ended up selling for a 50% return. Like I said, and I was just using the game plan alone, I'm going to go over all the massive wins that we had today. It was an amazing day. We had another 1000% gain. But look, man, this is where we are at in the current market. And this is what I want you to understand. So we are setting up for another simple foundation. And in terms of this foundation, it's going to be very, very similar to yesterday. If the market gaps up, the first trade, if it's at a key oversold level, which I'll be giving you, look, just put it this way. If the market gaps up, it's going to try to be overall bullish. We're going to look for opportunities on for calls. And then we have 2 main levels for overall puts, right? But if the market does gap up, think overall bullish, and it's going to try to drop first at these overall levels. And if the market does gap down, then think overall bearish, right? So in terms of the overall game plan, very, very simple in terms of the foundation. If we're gapping up, opening up above the previous closing price of 690.36, overall bullish, buy calls at our key levels of interest, and then also look to scout puts against the trend at our levels for puts, which I'll be giving you. And then if the market gaps down, interested in potentially puts at our key levels, and then I'll be sharing with you the oversold levels for calls, right? One of the simplest trading days we can have is if the market actually gapped up rather than gapping down, but either way, it should be simple. So let's get into this, man. So look, as you can see right here, we have this yellow pin, right? So the yellow, that represents the red, the green represents the green, right? But anyways, this is what I want to explain to you. We got this yellow pin facing up on the daily chart of the SPY, right? So you can see right here, you have this yellow pin facing up on the daily chart of the SPY. If it gaps down, it's overall bearish, right? And as you can see right here, you have the yellow pin right here. If it gaps up, overall bullish, then it loses some gains, right? So I'm going back throughout the daily chart pattern, and what I'm seeing is I'm seeing many, many times where with this, overall pin that has formed on the SPY, if it gaps up, holds previous closing price, overall strong bullish move, then it can either drop or not. I'll be explaining to you how to determine and confirm if it's going to close bullish or bearish. But in terms of that situation, that's more of trading with us in real time. When the 30-minute candlesticks are at the levels, more of confirmation. In terms of the nightly game plan, a day before the market's overall open, basically the main foundation is the first move, if we gap up, is bullish, buy calls, go long. If we gap down, it's bearish, buy puts, go short. But you're really going to have to be careful on the put side because we are still considered at overall, oversold levels on the SPY for the micro of the week. And you got to remember, we have the strongest foundation. Like I had stated on Sunday, we have the green, yellow, green bullish pattern at a break and retest. SPY literally just formed higher support at the break and retest level, bottoming at literally our best levels for calls, where I decided to buy calls nearly towards the exact lows on the day. So anyways, you know, it's attempting to close bullish because it had a break and retest, but to really start to close bullish, it has to gap up. That's the main key, right? It's just you got to be very careful with puts because we're towards the middle. We're not towards the top. One of the best level for puts is at the 694 gap close reversal. The market will try to drop first at the gap close reversal level, right? Right now, the market's currently having a break and retest with a green, yellow, green bullish weekly chart pattern, which is a foundation that works 90% of the time, which is why, like I said, the best thing you could do this week is buy oversold dips, and it's been pretty nonstop. Even just today, I didn't even time the calls accurately. When I first bought calls, it had a small little drop, and they were down a bit, but we held them and they came back to life, and there was a massive spike into the close. That's the beauty of holding the trades. That trade literally went from 100 to nearly 300. Those calls went 3 points in the money. But at first it had a dollar drop. We held, sold for a win, right? So, anyways, that's the simple foundation with the daily chart pattern. Like I said, in terms of what I'm seeing with overall patterns, weekly chart foundation said the most dangerous thing you can do is buy puts at oversold levels because it's going to attempt to have a bullish overall closing week. That's going to work 9 out of 10 times with that pattern. Obviously, it's not going to work 100% of the time. Right now, in terms of the market, it's having a break and retest, sitting at a make or break. If you look at the closing point, very interesting close. So if you look at this wick, the wick right here bottomed at a very strong previous resistance break and retest level. And if you look at the close was above a previous break and retest level, right? So if you look right here, you have a green, yellow, green on the daily chart. And then if you look at the close, the market recovered, strong bullish recovery, right? We bought calls, absolutely crushed it. There was a 1000% return on calls during the power hour trading session that we had. But as you can see, the market literally closed above a very strong break and retest level, right? So as long as it holds around this level right here, you're going to see, as long as we're holding around this level right here, look what happens. Big move to the upside to 695. And you also got to keep in mind that we have a gap to fill that's waiting to fill above. And historically, SPY has filled every single gap long term as it keeps on pushing for new all-time highs. So if something's gapping down and it just consistently pushes for new all-time highs, you just have to find a strategy to play for the gap to fill. Whether that's day trading, whether that's swing trading. If you look at a weekly chart, you can see right here, if you would have just bought oversold dips, given yourself enough time on options to make the biggest gains, and swing traded calls to play for gap fills whenever it gapped down, you would have been banking since April. So, anyways, basically, to determine and confirm if it's going to be a strong break and retest, this is key, right? So in terms of this overall key, I'm going to remove all of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you our new key levels of interest where we're planning to trade at. Like I said, this is going to be a very simple day, especially if the market is opening up with a gap up. One of the reasons why I dislike the idea of a gap down is because it is signaling that it could be bearish. It's just we're not at levels that I would want to go short or want to buy puts, even if it is in alignment with the trend, which makes it less ideal for me to trade into situations. Like I said, I would prefer the gap up due to the weekly chart pattern being bullish 9 out of 10 times. And we're still considered at a very oversold dip, considering how high this went to this week. And there's not a lot of time left on the shot clock, and there's a gap to fill above at 694. So logically speaking, in terms of alignment, if we gap up, I'm just going long. I'm just buying calls. That's what I would prefer to happen. Obviously, if I'm not in a swing trade in a situation like this, it wouldn't really matter in a sense what I would prefer, because if it just gaps up, I'll just get in on the calls, right? So look, you're gonna see right here, this is literally the level that literally determines and confirms everything. I'm gonna draw we're gonna go with two, let's see, that's 688.60, market closed at 690.30.60. All right, so look, we're going to start off with the previous closing price. So we'll go with 690.30s, right? It's the previous closing price. So this yellow line right here, previous closing price, yellow line right there, right? Then right around here, this is where we're going to go with. We're going to go with this one right here. So 689 and absolute lowest like 688.50. So basically, the market needs to hold above that overall zone that I just drew out right there. That's where it needs to hold. If it's holding and staying above this, what you're going to want to do is buy call options. It's going to have a strong bullish rally to start to fill the gap that's waiting to fill above. And then once it fills the gap, the initial reaction should be a drop first. It should be a downtrend first, right? So as you can see, when the SPY decides to react bullish, right? So this right here, this is this is bullish engulfing right here. This is a breakout. This is a retest. This is higher support. This is a breakout. This is a retest, higher support, right? Previous resistance, now support. Previous resistance, now support, right? And then it has a strong move to the upside, right? So, and then you can see right here, break and retest level, reacted bullish, strong move, break and retest level, right? Strong move. Um, in this particular situation, right? Strong moves. So the point being is, if it simply holds above 688.80 to 690 and it starts gapping up and pushing above 690, we're all looking to go long. In terms of where you're wondering where that crazy breakout level, the breakout level is literally right here. So I'm going to show you the breakout levels, right? So look, these are your oversold dip buying opportunities. Your oversold levels are right here, right? So if we're hanging around the previous closing price or gapping up, you're looking for bullish 30-minute candlestick confirmations. You're looking for trend reversal 30-minute candlestick confirmations. Basically, as long as the SPY is really sitting above, I would say 688.50 to 689, it's still technically considered bullish and not bearish yet, right? But for the strongest bullish confirmation, we either need a gap up or a break above the previous closing price, right? That's truly what we're going to need within this overall market to buy calls. So these are our oversold levels. Previous closing price of 690.36, right? Let me draw that out. Let me actually mark that out here. So let's see. We go to okay, so our previous closing price, we closed right there. There we go. All right, so these are all of our levels. I'll even draw one more. We'll do a bonus level right here. These are all the levels, all the zones, right? Where we're targeting call options as long as we're just maintaining around the previous closing price, not really dropping too much under it. And then this one right here, right? So your oversold levels are right around here. These are your oversold territory where we're looking to buy calls right around here. If the SPY gaps up or starts breaking above 690.50 to 691, you're going to buy calls automatically, get in, ride it up. So if you're wondering where your break and retest levels are, these are your highest resistance levels where you're looking to buy calls, um, along with, I already explained to you the oversold ones. So in terms of your higher levels, 692, that's your first break and retest. That's actually your second. That's your second break and retest level, right? So you can see right here, this is a breakdown and retest, reacted as a resistance. SPY had a little drop, right? So if it has a break and retest above the previous closing price, you're going long. If it has a break and retest above 692, you're going long. I would not recommend going above 692. So what I would tell you is your highest resistance level to buy calls, if we're maintaining around the previous closing price, is 692. And you can make multiple trades out of this, right? So if the market's holding around 688.50 to 689.50 and showing signs of strength, you can look for calls in between this overall range. If it's breaking out, reacting bullish, showing signs of a trend reversal, right? The easiest trade is to actually buy at higher levels on a gap up. So if you want the easiest, highest win rate trade, it could be the best entry, but necessarily not. But in terms of the instant free money, number one trade idea, like I said, it would be a gap up. If we're gapping up or if we're simply just holding, 689.50, just holding 689, 689.50, starting to break above previous closing price, just getting on the calls, go long if we start to push above the previous closing price, 690.36, right? And then, like I said, your only resistance break and retest levels are the previous closing price, which really isn't even considered a resistance level. If we're, hanging around it or gapping up, you literally just getting calls automatically on a gap up in that particular situation, I'd say, for the number one trade idea. But basically, the only strong resistance break and retest level that I would recommend in terms of the higher one is 692, right? So if the market gaps up, breaks above 690.50, getting on the calls. If it starts to go above 692, drops a little bit, forms higher support, or retest, forms support, bullish confirmation, that's another trade for calls, right? So this is the previous closing price is your make or break level for calls. If it gaps up around it, just literally get in. And then 692 is your only break and retest level for calls in terms of upper resistance if it's gapping up or reacting bullish, hanging above 689. Like I said, there's absolutely no reason for puts as long as the market is above 689. There really is no reasonable reason to be buying puts if the market's above 689, right? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you a 30-minute chart pattern, right? So in terms of the 30-minute chart pattern, this is what it looks like to me. Take a look. You see how we have this down move, and then it crunches, gaps up, gaps and goes, keeps on going up, right? So if you compare this right here, you go back to January, you go back to right here, January 2nd. You go back to Friday. Look at this pattern for tomorrow. If it just starts to crunch, has a little breakout, forms higher support in the pre-market, you're going to want to go long. If it has a gap up in the pre-market, you're going to want to go long, right? All of this information relates to futures. So again, in the pre-market during extended hours, if you're seeing, it's starting to break out a little bit, form higher support, go long. If it's starting to gap up, go long. And look, literally the gap up, it dropped back down to the previous resistance level, bottomed, and then a green, yellow, green, right? Bullish, consistent breakout, right? So like I said, as long as we're starting to break above the previous closing price, forming higher support or gapping up, it's going to do this very, very early, right? Which is why in the pre-market, you simply need to look for bullish confirmations and higher support. If it's simply forming higher support, bullish confirmations, for example, this was resistance right here, it gaps up the next day, and then it forms a higher floor right at that previous resistance, right? So instead of the big move to the downside, big move to the upside, right? Big move to the upside. Green, yellow, green is all bullish, break and retest, higher support, right? So like I said, if we're doing all of that, get in pre-market to market open, just literally get in. And your second trade is at 692. Your first trade's at the previous closing price. Your second trade is at 692, right? If you only want one trade, just get in directly at the market open, right? Um, and that's literally it. It's the simplest game plan for calls. Like I said, I genuinely believe the easiest way to make money would be if the market just held above 689, if the market gapped up, or if the market just started breaking out a little bit, forming some higher support, showing signs of strength in the pre-market. The easiest thing we can do is just go long right before the market opens, or right at the market open, you know, if the market does that. So give it some time, see how it reacts, and in terms of what you're looking for in terms of higher support, well, let's take a look right now. um let's take a look at this particular situation, right? So there's resistance here, there's a breakout here, there's a retest here, right? So it has the break, it has the retest. So I would say if you start to see it going above 690, forming some higher support about 690, just get in. And if it already gapped up and took off and it's at 691, 692, just get in. Just get in early. It's going to spike. And what it's going to do is it's going to close the gap. So there's a gap to fill at 693.77. I have two overall main zones for puts. The first level for puts, and again, this is on a bullish day, that can either close bullish or bearish. It can go either way. I'm seeing signals on the daily chart where it can close bullish. I'm also seeing signals where it can get back some gains, right? But regardless of what it does, these are still nice levels to scalp against the trend. Just be careful and don't go green to red. And this is not the best thing to do on a trend day. So 693, it can be as time goes on. It gets more complex. But as the video goes on, you'll have a deeper understanding. 693.77, right? So this previous closing price, this gap, there's a gap to fill right here. When SPY closes the gap, when those 694 puts go out of the money, they're going to try to go back in the money. So it's a nice scalp and it's a nice breakdown and retest level. This should hit like money. This is the money line. You want to know what the money line is? I'm showing you it. And I'm showing you a money line. I already gave you the money line for calls. If it gaps up and starts to break out, you just get it on calls. And then towards the end, I'll give you the game plan on puts. I didn't give you the game plan on puts if it doesn't gap up. I still haven't given you that one because we're still focused on the game plan if it gaps up, right? There's multiple trade ideas. All you have to do is follow the simple instructions. If it gaps up or gaps down, do this and look for the confirmations, look for the reaction to the levels with the times I've given you, right? I'm showing you the market open trades. Now I'm showing you if it does gap up, react bullish. These are the midday trades, right? I told you the middle day trade, well, that's still fairly early. 692 is still a fairly early trade for a second trade. But look, these are the trades on puts. So this right here is support. This is a support level. This is a sell-off. This is a retest of that previous support. This is a breakdown. This is a retest. Now, the interesting thing is this. It retested the previous support during extended hours, right? And when that occurs and it's a success, breakdown, retest, gap down, massive sell-off, typically it becomes a key level of interest to trade at when it's tested for the first time during normal trading hours. So the strategy has already worked, which gives me more confidence to even make a scalp against the trend on calls. And the daily chart is signaling that, it might not close bullish. It could close bearish. So this could end up being one of the absolute best level for puts. 4-point move to the upside, that is fairly a little bit overextended, but you got to be careful because the week can have a strong bullish close potentially. We shall see if it gaps up or not. But look, it should be a nice scalp against the trend. Previous support, cracks, spikes, retest. It sells off during extended hours. So the point being is, when this level tests for the first time during normal trading hours, which should be tomorrow if we gap up and we break above 690.50 to 691, you go long, you bank. It should try to drop first right here. And the reason why is the strategy is a breakdown, retest, support, crash, retest, massive sell off, right? But the key is the strategy worked and was tested during extended hours. So I have this system where when a strategy works, whether it's a gap close reversal, whether it's a breakdown retest for puts, whether it's a break and retest for calls, when it works during extended hours, it tends to be a phenomenal level to make the same move that already happened for the first time, this time during normal trading hours. So during normal trading hours, this is extended during normal trading hours, right? Once we get to the 694, we should see a nice little drop to 692.50 to 693. And if it did drop all the way down to 692.50 to 692, that would be a phenomenal level, especially 692s, to buy calls on a break and retest. So if we go above the previous closing price on a gap up, we should rocket to 694, drop from 694 the first time it's tested. And then once it drops from 694, what I would prefer is a big drop. I want a 2-point drop. And then I would just buy calls again on the 2-point drop automatically. That is literally the best trade idea. If you want some auto ideas, you can literally just kind of automatically get in for a quick scalp on puts at 690. Look, I have 3 auto ideas for you. Look at this. If we gap up, reacting bullish in pre-market, just automatically buy calls the market open, sell into the red. Break above 692, buy calls. Goes to 694, breakdown retest, scalp puts. If it drops back down all the way to 692, 692.50, buy calls again. Dude, I've given you 4 trade ideas. If it gaps up, buy calls. Break above 692, buy calls. 694, buy puts. Retest the 692, buy calls. That is 4 potential wins. And the beauty of what I just said is the first trade should be the easiest and the best trade. So if you start green and you end red, there's no point in starting. You should just fucking quit trading. Because anyone who goes green to red in this market, it doesn't mean you're incompetent. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. We all have money. We're all capable of managing our money, right? If you're in the market, you're capable of managing your money. You're capable of having risk management. You know the risk involved if you keep on trading, right? So it really only comes down to is it's not even incompetence. It's not even someone being incompetent. Of course, stages in trading, people could have emotions, people could be incompetent, people could be degenerates. These are all stages, but the real truth is, in terms of this market, with the education that's out there and just being self-aware and just understanding basic principles of risk management, options trading, the most true risk into the trade, if you could even afford to take a next trade, I would say it really just comes down to, if you go green to red, it's not poor risk management, it's not being incompetent, it's not being a degenerate, it's not you made any mistakes, it's you're broke. That's what it fucking is. Anyone who goes green to red within the market, I would genuinely tell them that the reason why they went green to red is because they're fucking broke, And if you're broke, trading really isn't the smartest thing for you. It's not because you're over trading, it's not because poor risk management. No. Those are all things required for you to trade in the first place, right? If you're not doing the things required for you to trade in the first place, then there's no point in trading. And if you're trading and you're doing those things, it just means you're broke. That's what it means. So I've given you the absolute best trade ideas within the market. There's not a single person on this fucking planet who's making you as sharp as this fucking game plan that is going to print you so much money at the speed of light. You'll be questioning, how is this working so well? And how is this information, you know, being able to give in before the market actually even opens, where we can make futures trades if we see the confirmations and get in before the normal trading hours and 0-day options. You're going to be amazed on how well that game plan works. And like I said, if it were up to me, I would prefer the gap up. And then that opens up another conversation. If we have a preference on what we would prefer to happen, and all we have to do is have some awareness and see if it's actually happening using confirmations, using the levels, using information, using our eyes, using our fucking brains, right? Then it stirs up another question of, well, what if the opposite happens? And then you kind of have to decide, well, if the opposite happens and you're seeing that, because obviously we're all trading what we see, um, you know, Are you going to scale down your position size because maybe you don't like the second game plan? Maybe you don't like those trade ideas if it gaps down? Are you even going to trade, right? Like I said, in terms of my personal preference and the easiest thing to do, especially for beginners, I would prefer the gap up. I would say there's 4 solid trade ideas where everybody can make money. 3 on calls, 1 on puts, but even 2 on puts. This is your bonus idea for puts. Your bonus idea for puts is going to be this one. It would be a little bit unusual if we went this high, but it is fairly possible. This right here, 695.50 to 697. That is going to be your next put zone. That's a breakdown and retest level. What I dislike about this breakdown and retest level is it was tested during normal trading hours and it already sold off, so it's already played out. So use the best confirmations on puts. And this is not an auto zone, right? So this is the only one in terms of the first game plan that's not an auto zone. 695.50 to 697 to new all-time highs. If you're seeing bearish reactions, try puts for a quick scalp, middle of the day, end of the day, for a nice little pullback into the close. That's the final trade idea. And that is not an automated trade idea, right? The automated trade ideas I have for you are so simple. If the SPY gaps up, right, just buy calls it open. You can scale a little bit into it if it dips, right? Just literally buy the fucking calls, right? Gaps up, starts to push above 690.50. It's been holding 689s. If it does that, just buy calls, go long. Second game plan, break above 692, buy calls, go long. 694, buy puts, nice little 1 point to 1.5 point scalp. Retest 692 to 692.50 zone. Don't nickel and dime it. If you see a confirmation, just get in towards 692.50 to even 692.80 to 693, right? And then those are all your automated levels. And then the next put zone is all the way up here. You must use confirmations, right? So for all the game plans that I've given you, I would say you can just kind of automatically get on the trades. Just literally get in on the momentum. It should work out absolutely phenomenal where you should at least start green and not go red, right? And for confirmation, I would say you're going to need the strongest confirmation for puts right around here, not right here. It should drop automatically first here. I'm telling you, dude, look at how well this worked. It's fucking brilliant. Support, crash, retest. Breakdown of support, retest, sells off. Breakdown of support, retest, sells off, right? Except this time it did not form during the normal trading hours. But once we do get that push above 694, that is when we will start to see that 690, 650 action and then another trade idea for puts, right? Um, you know, but like I said, I really wouldn't recommend pushing the break and retest level above 692 to 692.50. That's your absolute max. If we had a break above 694 and it dropped back down, it could be a nice little scout for tomorrow. And this can change. You know, next day could be a phenomenal level. I update the game plans each day. This is for tomorrow's 0 date price action trading. Literally the toughest and hardest style of fucking trading now, right? This is updated on a regular basis. In terms of the information, the key levels. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the bearish game plan. So in terms of the bearish game plan, you need to be extremely cautious with buying calls. So I am seeing it could close bearish and it might not have the bullish recovery. But look, but before I get into that, man, just look at this pattern. I already showed you this, right? This bullish pattern if it gaps up, right? But look, I'm just seeing so many signals where, we have this sharp downfall and it starts to push up. When we have this sharp downfall, it starts to push up. If it gaps up, it just keeps on having a gap and go, right? Um, in a situation like this too, a sharp downfall, and then it gapped up, had a very nice spike, then it sold off, and that sell off could be at 694. But the point being is, man, it is showing clear signs of a reversal in the bullish, in the in the overall foundation on the weekly chart is bullish. So the most logical thing we could do is buy calls. It just needs to break above previous closing price and just needs to hang and hold around that 689, dude. And you got to get in on this play early, pre-market, at market open if it happens. Like I said, this is what I would prefer to happen because we got the green, yellow, green, break and retest, bullish weekly chart foundation. Whenever SPY forms this green, yellow, green pattern, the next week tends to be bullish 9 out of 10 times. You can go back historically and see every time it formed green, yellow, green. For the most part, this time it didn't. But for the most part, it did close bullish 9 out of 10 times, right? Part of trading is about putting yourself in a statistic edge of odds and winning with specific patterns. Green, yellow, green, next week's bullish, green, yellow, green, next week's bullish, right? Green, yellow, green, next week's bullish, right? Statistically, it works 9 out of 10 times historically on the SPY, right? So instead of trying to be right the one time it doesn't work, you could just try to be blindly right fucking 9 out of fucking 10 times and be fucking right. Obviously, if you weren't trying blindly, maybe you could be right that one time it was wrong and then go with the puts, right? And then that's where this other game plan comes in. So like I said, we are considered at very oversold levels because this could be a bullish closing week and there's not a lot of time left into the week. There's only 2 days left, right? So this is as oversold as it gets, which is why I really don't want it to have a nice gap down at the open. I really don't want to try to buy puts. Even if it reacted bearish, I would look for opportunities on calls, but you got to be extremely fucking careful with that, because what you need to understand is we are at make or break in the market. And the only thing that is going to save in terms of, we have this bullish weekly chart pattern where the SPY 9 out of 10 times closes bullish on a green, yellow, green pattern, right? The next week, which is what we're currently in, right? There's only 2 days left in a week. Right now, we're sitting at the lower middle of the overall channel. And as you can see, if it just starts to break out and gap up, we're looking at a massive move to the upside, and then we all buy calls, and then it has a strong bullish week, and then we all fucking celebrate with the gains, right? And then we do the same thing the next week, right? That's what I would prefer to happen. But look, you need to be aware of the other side of the fucking sword, and this is part of fucking trading. So if we do gap down, it could be a bearish day, it could be a very bearish day, and it could be a very bearish week. So I've come to the conclusion that if we do gap down, I will be trying a trade on puts, and I would even say that it's an auto trade on puts. But for this one, wait towards the market open, give it a little time. Don't jump the gun. For calls, just get the fuck in right the fuck away. For puts, give it a little bit of time. Look for some confirmations. Look for some lower highs. Look for some red, yellow. Look for some red, green, red. Look for some bearish confirmations. Look for some breakdown and retest, right? On a 30-minute chart. Very, very simple. But look, if we start to go below, so we closed at 690, I would say 687.50, 687.50 to 688. That's what I would say. If we start to go under, look, let's just call it what it is. 687.50 to 688. If we start to go below 687.50, like I said, for this idea inputs, I would encourage you to give it a little bit of time. Wait for it to sell off a little bit, maybe not get in right away. Wait for a breakdown and retest. Wait for some red 30-minute candles. Wait for red, green, red. Wait for the bearish patterns, right? Below 687.50, it could free fall. And it can have a very nice drop for a very bearish sell off into the close that bulls would not have seen coming if they weren't aware of what can happen, which is, like I said, if it's not gapping up, if we're not going above 690, this shit is going to fucking free fall and get ugly really fucking fast. And that first trade will be on puts. So, now that you kind of think about it, like, the only reason I don't like the idea on puts is the weekly chart says 90% plus at a time when it forms green, yellow, green, it's a bullish week. We got 2 days left into the week, and the market is sitting at the lower middle of the channel, which means we're at make or break. Look at this. This is make or break. If it holds above this, we go up here. Well, what if it doesn't hold above that? What if it starts to drop? Then we go all the way down here. Look at all the way down here. 682. We go sell off to 683. So you need to understand, tomorrow is going to be the best trading day of the week. And then we absolutely crush it every Friday. That's known for being our absolute best trading days of the week. But this is the best day of the week because look, the market's hanging on by a thread. The week's got to either close bearish or bullish. If it gaps up, it's going to have a strong bullish recovery. If it gaps down, starts to drop, oh, big sell off, dude. Do you see the levels we're sitting at? All you have to do tomorrow is determine and confirm if it's a gap and go on the bullish side or a gap and go on the downside. And in the first trade, if it gaps up, calls. If it gaps down, look for a put below 687.50. That's fucking it. You listen to what the fuck I just said. You're gonna be printing money at the speed of light, questioning why you're not in a group that's winning every single day with the highest win rate in the game, with the best real-time zero-date options train alert system in the market. So like I said, man, if you look at the bigger picture, the weekly chart is signaling 9 out of 10 times it's a bullish week. We got 2 days left. We're hanging on by a thread at a break and retest level. If we gap up, that shit's gonna fucking go bullish as fuck, and we're all gonna go long. But if it starts to gap down and goes below this level right here, I'd say, man, that's 687. That's 687. Oof, 680. This is the true, what is it? Yes, that's 687. That's 687.50 to 686 is the free fall cliffhanger where, oh, the 1 out of 10 time, the pattern didn't work. That 1 out of 10 times, bearish fucking dropped to 682, 683. I bet you motherfuckers aren't even going to see it coming. I bet you they won't even see it coming. It's like, dude, I'm showing you how to be right 9 out of 10 times. And I'm also showing you how to see in the blindsided situation. I'm not telling you, I'm only telling you to just kind of blindly and get in calls if it gaps up. But if it doesn't, and we gap down and we go below 687, what I'm telling you is this could be the 1 out of 10 times where it actually has a big sell off instead of a bullish fucking recovery. So, dude, this is prime. Like, man, trading is exciting. These setups are exciting. This is the best setups, the best prices. I'm giving you the eyes within this fucking market so you can see how this works, so you can see what a good setup like this is. And then as time goes on, you'll have contrast whether the market stays this good, whether the setups stay this good. And then we'll have awareness too. We'll have awareness. Are people going to adapt and have the awareness? Dude, these setups ain't looking so hot. These are shit levels. These are shit setups. What are we going to do? How are we going to adapt? Are we going to trade less? Are we going to aim for better set? You know, that's the ability of having awareness and the right strategies within the market with the right levels. It gives you contrast. That's what makes trading in life fun, is contrast. The highs and the lows, a good setup and a bad setup. Wow, in this month every setup was good, and then the next month every setup was shit. How quickly did we adapt to see that? How quickly did we change and adapt accordingly? And how do we adapt accordingly with that contrast? Okay, now the setups are shit in the market compared to the other ones. So how are we going to trade now? What are we going to do? Are we going to sit on the sidelines more? Are we going to trade less? Are we going to have higher standards, right? And you get to see the entire journey of how we trade. You know, the beauty of having a system that allows you to trade the best setups at the best prices, one of the beauties of it is the contrast. It genuinely shows you what the best setups look like and what the worst setups look like. And what I'm telling you is, we're looking at a sure thing heading into tomorrow for a massive move into the close of this week. And this is genuinely one of the most brilliant setups. I mean, you could just visually see that the level we're sitting at, if it gaps up and starts to go above the previous closing price, look at the move. This shit instantly went up when it broke above 690.50, when it broke above 690.50, and look at the contrast. This time it had a break and retest above 690.50 and it went to 695. This time it didn't even have the retest, right? It just went straight the fuck up. Which is why you just get the fuck in. Instead of selling the rip, you just hold it and sell fucking higher, right? And on this day, I literally told you to scalp it, put it 692 and 693, and it both dropped first, which is fucking crazy. So, it's really not trying to determine, well, is it going to be a breakout and then come back down, or is it just going to go straight up? No. You just get in when it gaps up, sell for the big profit, and if it does come back down, you buy another strike and you add, right? So if the market, if you just look at this, if the market starts breaking above 690.50, it either goes straight up to 694 or it goes to 692, comes back down to 690.50, your original entry, make another trade, buy the dip. It's going to shoot back up. Now you have two trades, right? Say at 690.50, you went with 692 or 693 calls, right? You go long, you buy the calls. I would say 692 should be a decent strike. Like, I can't really recommend strikes in advance a night before because we got to see, we got to look at the Greeks. We got to look at the overall price action. We got to see how the market's moving, right? But if I were to give one off the top of my head, 692 is a little bit nice out of the money, 1.5 points, and it's fairly safe. 693 wouldn't really push it too much above that, but we can go to 694 to 695, but it could chop first before pushing higher. It might not be an instant spike, right? This gets more advanced, and there's indicators that you can use and stuff to determine if it's going to just instantly spike. But look, just get in on the calls, have a nice profit target of 693, 694, sell the rip. And if it does break out and drop back down, hold your fucking calls because you're aiming for a bigger profit, but obviously take some off into the move, not all of your size, and then either add to it once it drops back down to your initial entry, or just buy a second strike. That's what I would do. I would just buy a second strike. If the market had a breakout and it dropped back down, I would hold that trade, but obviously take some gains at 692. Hold the vast majority of that trade for 693 to 694. And then if it drops back down to retest 690.50 previous closing price for a gap close reversal on a gap and go situation, I would just buy another strike. It's going to be cheaper and lower risk. And I would go likely further out of the money. It depends on the situation. But what I'm telling you is, like, if you bought a 692 call, right? In the shit, and you got in at 690.50, you sell some at 692, and it's either going to go straight to 694, or if it drops back down, you hold it, then it should go to 693 to 694. But when it does drop back down, you could add to some of that since you did shave some profits, but overall just buy another strike. Then you can go with like a 691 or even a 693, whatever you want to do on your style of trading, on how close you want to go in the money or how further you want to go out of money. I'm not going to be disclosing everything we're doing because part of what we do is in real time, and we need to look at the actual Greeks and the actual price action and other stuff to determine and confirm what strikes we're going to be selecting. But that's just to give you some more ideas. Like, literally, this actually, you got to think I would rather have this. This is 2 wins. 1 win, you go straight up. Overall, if you hold it, that's 1 win. And then when it drops back down, that's a second win. That's a second trade. And that's an ad. That's 2 strikes. If it just goes straight up, that's only 1 win. That's only 1 strike. I'd rather have a nice spike, big pullback down, and then big spike versus just the big spike straight up. Either way, they're both going to print. But, you know, 2 wins, 2 wins is nice versus just 1. So another trade idea, like I said, that's actually 5 trade ideas now that I'm thinking about it. If we go above 690.50, you buy calls. If it tops at 692 and drops back down, buy calls again. That's fucking 5 trade ideas I've given you. Break above 690.50, buy calls. If it drops to 692, buy calls on the retest of 690.50 to 691. That's 2 trade ideas for calls. Breaks above 692 again, buy calls or just strong break in general. That's another trade for calls, whether you get it on the initial break or if it drops back down and then breaks out. Either way, you'll still print on it. Just don't go too far out of the money if you're buying calls at 692. You can go a little bit further out if you're buying at the lower levels. And then 694 puts. If it drops back down to 692 again, calls. I'm giving you so many fucking ideas. Like, you guys don't understand. This is just the night before. The ideas, they get way better in way more fucking profitable towards later into the day and towards power fucking hour. Once we have more confirmations and more price action, if the close is going to be bearish or bullish, like I'm literally sitting here creating a fuck ton of trade ideas. Just wait until the market opens. I'll create more. Like, dude, I'm giving you the keys to the fucking kingdom within this market tomorrow. So if we gap down, go below 687, hit the puts, first trade puts on a gap down, crack below 687, hit the puts, write it back down. Now for calls, this can close extremely bearish and be a brutal bearish day. So I would encourage you to leave some runners up into the close on those puts, leave some to run, sell into the moves, right? So if you're buying puts below 687.50, take profit zones are going to be this support level right here, break and retest level right here is going to be 685. Look to take the bulk of that off. And then also the next level below that, 684s. Now, let's discuss key levels to buy calls on a bearish trend. Use the best confirmations. It could attempt to bounce first. Doesn't mean it's going to have a reversal. Like I said, one of the things the market is lacking tomorrow is, confirmations on close. So if the daily chart's lacking a clear signal on where we're going to potentially close, the best thing to do in terms of how to figure out if it's going to close is just to wait. Wait towards the middle of the day, towards the end of the day, use our levels, use the confirmations, trade the price ladder to determine if it's going to be bullish or bearish at our overall levels with the information that I provided, right? You're going to have to use the confirmations at our levels, and you're going to have to actually trade at those levels with confirmations. So, anyways, looking for calls, these are our level for calls if the market is bearish. Our first level is going to be, I would say, you can keep your eyes. It could bounce at 685s. Be extremely careful. It could bounce at 683 to 684 zone. Be extremely careful. Your true best levels for calls are going to be 681 to 682. That would be my only auto buy level for calls if it gaps down and reacts bearish. 682 to 681, very strong break and retest level. Resistance, strong breakout, gap and go to new all-time highs. Literally one of the best levels. You can see right here, it even retested right here, start to break out and gap and go. So that 681, 682 is prime. But levels where this can bounce first and you need to look for potential reversals, but use the best confirmations only, are going to be, like I said, towards this 684 to 685, 684 to 685, and 683 to 684. True best 681, 682. Those are levels for quick reversals, right? But just understand, it could be a brutal bearish day if we gap down and simply stay below the previous closing price. If the market cannot go above the previous closing price, it's going to take a massive hit heading into tomorrow, and you're going to want to be buying puts first if we're not breaking above that previous closing price, right? So look, the market is setting up for another simple, highly predictable, lucrative trading day. I followed my game plan, made 50% on calls. If I would have held them, they went up over 200%. But we had 7 other wins that went up multiple 100%. One of the wins went up 1,000%, dude. It's never been simpler. It's never been easier to win. The best part about our system is it genuinely exposes if trading is for you or not. Because when someone makes it this simple, this profitable, this lucrative, this much winning, this much consistency every single day, where we're outperforming every single options trader that you know of, and anyone who's involved within our group, you guys are all well aware that We are the best zero date options trading alert. We're the best. We have the best zero date. We have the best zero date options trading alert system on the market. We're the absolute best zero date option traders you're ever going to find. Whether you find someone in person, whether you find someone available, to access through an online business, you're not going to find better traders than us when it comes to zero dates. We absolutely own the space, and our results show every single day within the group. And the vast majority of the people who join the group do not cancel the subscription, which is a clear, it clearly shows that the group works, the business works, everything's a massive fucking success. And that's your choice if you want to get involved and see if trading's for truly you. But one of the genuinely things that I love about our system is it's simple, and it genuinely exposes, since it's real, if trading's not for someone, because trading isn't for everyone. People have emotions, people don't manage money the right way, people have poor risk management skills. This shit's not for every fucking one. Trading could be a crazy thing to get involved with and to master, and it takes a lot of time. To get this good at options takes 9-10 years, and a lot of people don't want to put in not just the time and effort to achieve that, but all of the losing, all of the sacrifices, all of the crazy things that could happen in your life, whether that's losing someone, whether that's losing a bunch of money, whether that's losing things that you own. Me personally, I've lost everything and everyone at points in my life, pursuing trading. There's ups and there's downs, but when you truly are up and figure it out, I can assure you that the downs do disappear at some point. And that's why everyone does want to, if you figure it out and master it, and that's not for everyone, and not everyone's going to get in that level. But a lot of reasons why people get involved within trading and within the stock market is because they know that it genuinely gets to a point in terms of a system and having capital and skill set where you can't lose. You just can't lose long term. And that's why people just keep on trading and trading and trading, because it gets to a certain point where it's like, dude, if you know how to manage your money and you know how to identify something that's cheap, low risk with a high win rate, not that you need it, and you add to the winners, don't add to the losers, you set profit stops, and the wins are a lot bigger than the losers. It's like, as long as you stick with it and don't go off the fucking ball, and you see through the illusions and contrast within the market, like, it really does, especially once you actually make it, it becomes impossible to lose. Like, it genuinely does. And that's why people trade, because it gets to a point where you have so much money, you have so much experience, you have so much skill sets within the market where it's like you just can't fucking lose. And then you start doing other things with the market. You have so much money that you're not going to put it all into one trade, trading zero dates. Then you start trading futures. Then you start investing into stocks. Then you start making swing trades on shares. Then you start looking into leap options, And that's the power and the beauty of getting involved within the stock market, because it does get to a point where I genuinely believe that if you make enough money and you truly master a niche, a craft, it's impossible to lose it all. I genuinely believe that. It gets to a point where, as long as you're stable and you know what you're doing and you see through the illusions of the market, you see through the contrast, you know when to get in, you know when to pull out, you know when to sit in the sidelines. If you actually know what the fuck you're doing, and ease the brakes, and maybe even not even trade if the market looks uncertain or if the setups don't look good, right? Because if you have something that works and the market doesn't show you that, then it's best to do nothing or just sit in the sidelines or get a taste with small position size to gain some new experience on what you're seeing. But like, if you make it within trading, I genuinely believe it gets to a point where it's impossible to lose it all. Um, if someone loses it all within trading, they likely didn't really make it. They likely had something that worked. If they did really make it, then they just went off AWOL. That's literally like they didn't see through the contrast. They started fucking taking massive position sizes. They started going against everything they fucking believe in. They just threw it all away. And that could happen too. There's people who genuinely made in the market, they decided to throw it all away, but it gets to a point where you hit a certain amount of money where it's like you really can't throw it all the fuck away if you know what you're doing, and you live in a sense where it doesn't allow you to throw it all away. That's just what I love about the stock market, man. It's just so lucrative and profitable, and it's endless opportunities. You can make money trading futures when it's not open anywhere in the fucking world. Wake up fucking from your sleep, make a quick trade. You could swing trade, you could day trade, you could invest, you could do it fucking all. I mean, it gets to a point where you make so much fucking money, you have to start to figure out other things and other businesses to create if you want to make more money, um, especially within your sleep. So if you want to join our group and gain access to our real-time zero-date options train alert system, this is what you're getting access to. It's an unlimited printing money machine. I can guarantee you that you will not find another system that is as consistent and as good as our system. It's a real-time zero-date options train alert system. As you can see, the first trade in the morning, like I told you, we typically start our days off green, right? So if you start your day off green, it's impossible to go green to red unless you're broke. And if you're broke, maybe trading's not the best thing for you, right? But the reason why I say it's impossible to go to green to red when you start your day off green is because people really shouldn't be trading if they're broke. They have no reason to do it unless they just want to gain experience and have some fun, do small account challenges, and that's a real thing. People do small account challenges, and they do make careers, businesses, and a living, and even more. It could lead to evolution. That's a real thing. We people who do that in our group, but like in terms of green to red, like I said, if you go green to red, it means you're broke. It doesn't mean you're a degenerate. It doesn't mean you're making mistakes. Um, well, one of the mistakes could be you're trading if you're broke, but people know what they're getting involved with, right? It's the cheapest, lowest risk trades to begin with, right? But like I said, man, this is 2026. If you go green to red, it means you're broke. It doesn't mean you have poor risk management. It doesn't mean you're incompetent. It doesn't mean you're a degenerate. It doesn't mean you're making mistakes with your trading. It doesn't mean you're trading with emotions. Now, by all means, it could genuinely mean those things. But in terms of 2026, if you want to be a real fucking trader, if you go green to red, it means you're broke. It doesn't mean, oh man, I just wanted to keep on winning. Dude, everybody knows the risk of each trade. If you risk too much on the next trade, everything you put in is your max risk on the trade. Like if you risk too much, you know what you're getting involved with. You know what you're doing. That's what I'm saying. You put the money in the market, you put the money in the trade, you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, maybe it could be incompetent. Maybe you're making mistakes, right? But in terms of a real trader, dude, if someone goes green to red, they're broke. That's the quote for 2026. If you ever see someone go green to red, they're fucking broke. That's the only logical explanation. You know, there is no, oh man, I was winning so much and I just kept on going and I started taking these big risks. No, no, no. When you're winning, you scale down, not up. Oh, I didn't know that. It's like, well, you're gonna learn real fucking quick. Like, dude, it's like 98% of traders lose. 0 dates, most people lose. The fuck? You got 1 day to make it every single day to fucking make it. These are 0 dates. The trade expires at 4 fucking 15 p.m. You know, if you're using the right broker, wrong broker, 4 p.m. You know, use Schwab. Fucking you can trade this shit up to 4:15 p.m. Most people don't know you can trade 0 days during extended hours, 15 minutes on SPY options, not SPX. 685 SPY puts for 55 cents goes to 100. Dude, straight up. You want to know what our company is, Team Roar? This is what it is. It's straight up, dude. Right now, place I'm staying at, everywhere I look, it's straight up. Beautiful people. Everybody looks like a fucking supermodel. Everywhere I fucking look, fucking Lamborghinis, fucking Rolls Royces, fucking Ferraris, McLarens. Everywhere I fucking look, beautiful buildings, beautiful water, beautiful fucking boats, beautiful fucking yachts, fucking mirrors everywhere, flash everywhere, fitness everywhere, water everywhere, fucking food everywhere, restaurants everywhere. It's like, dude, this is our company. Do you understand? Our company is unlimited upside, unlimited winning, unlimited lifestyle. This is what we fucking do. Straight the fuck up, 100% win rate. Next trade, 690 SPY calls for 45 cents. Add. We're in at 45 cents. Add. Look, these are the quotes moving in real time. As this is moving, we're adding, we're not selling. Most people sell for 20%. Go ahead, go trade with other 0 date options traders. Watch them all go in the money. Very easy to go in the money. Just get in, get out, small win. Oh, set a stop loss. You will not find a better 0 date options trader on this planet who's going further out of the money, adding to the winners to double or triple the gains, setting the profit stops to ensure that they don't go green to red and they're not taking on extra risk when they're adding to the winners because they're setting profit stops and they get profit stopped down the green if it pulls back. And when it goes straight the fuck up, we move our profit stops up higher to ensure that we get profit stopped out, not where we originally set it, but as the price keeps on going up, we take full advantage of the move and don't give back the gains once it has a big pullback, if it even does. 80 cents a contract. Dude, that's another 100% win. 45 cents to 80 cents a win. You know, sometimes I wonder if someone was serious about making money within the market, how many videos do they have to watch where the game plan works every single time and they could have used the game plan to make money before they join the group? And then every single time at the end of the video, they see all we're doing is winning. And the track record goes on and on and on. And the company keeps on getting bigger and better. And life just keeps on going up and up and up. And I think to myself, and I wonder, if someone was an actual trader, how many times would it take for them to see that, to join the group? You know, you have some people, they get in right away. And that's traders. They want instant access, they want to get in right away, and they want to fucking trade. And then you got the other side of people, whatever the fuck they're doing, you know, whether they're just trying to be self-educated and just educate. But the real traders, everybody knows the real traders, they all join Team Roar because everyone wants access to the best real-time zero-day options trading alert system in the market. And I can guarantee you that you will not find a better system within the market. I'm sure you can find people showing off lavish lifestyles. I'm sure you could find people marketing. I'm sure you can find people educating. But when it comes to a real-time zero-day options trading alert system within the market, I can guarantee you, you will not find a better trading system within this. Everybody has buy and sell alerts, but who's buying, who's adding, who's selling deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains, whose wins are bigger than their losses, who rarely loses, and when they do lose, the most they lose is their max risk per trade. Same risk that someone loses when they get stopped out. Except with this, we don't use stop losses. We hold our trades, and 7 out of 10 times, our trades come back to life when they're red. And that's because we trade the trend, and we're right about the trend the vast majority of the time. We go far out of the money, but not far out enough to where it's not going to go deep in the money if we're right about the trend because we measure the price action. We don't have to be right about the timing, we have to be right about the trend. We have the whole day for the trend to work within our favor. As long as we're on the right side of the overall trend, we could time a trade wrong, it could drop 50% within minutes. It can drop 80% within an hour. And it comes back to life and it goes green 7 out of 10 times. And we don't get stopped out because the most we put into a losing trade is our max risk per trade. The most we put into a winning trade is adding to the winners. Add to the winners, add to the winners, double to triple the size, go from 1R multiple, your initial entry, to 2 to 3R multiples, and you're not risking extra size, extra R multiples, or theoretically anything when you're already green because you set a profit stop. And if you set a profit stop on a green trade that you added to, it's impossible to go red. Next trade, 685 SPY puts, 43 cents. Triple it. Shit went 55 cents. 687 SPY puts for 50 cents a contract. Add. 72 cents. Another win. Dude, nobody's winning this much. 689 SPY calls for 32 cents a contract. Add. Triple the position size. 32 cents all the way to 120 cents. 60, 90, 120, 300%. 300% win. It's like, dude, the crazy thing is the wins are so big. People don't even think about how much winning they're having. They're saying, oh, I only made 50% on that one, even though it's a fuck ton of money. They're like, oh, 50%. When you make a 300% win, a 50% win or a 100% loss doesn't even hold a candle to a 300% win. Do you understand? It's like, dude, we're winning and we're making a fuck ton of money, but like the contrast, couple 50% wins, couple 50% wins, yeah, it's nice. But then when you hit a 300%, you triple it. Oh my God. It's like the contrast of that. It's like you start to think, did I even have the 50% wins? Was that just the lunch? Was that just fucking like was that just fucking lunch money? Was that just fucking rent money? Like, what the fuck was that? It was just some small fucking, was that just some money that I just throw into stocks for the long, like the fuck, whatever the fuck, like, you know, you start to think like, did it even happen? It's such a small thing, but those small wins add up when you have many every single day. 689 SPY calls for 32 cents. And like I said, if you trade with size, those ain't no small fucking wins. But they are small compared to the big wins, percentage wise and dollar wise. But you can still make very fucking phenomenal money with 50% gains within minutes. 689 SPY calls for 32 cents a contract. Add, triple it. Sold at 111 cents a contract. Oh man. So after a 300% win that we tripled our position size, surely enough, you'd think that we're done, right? No, this is Team Roar. It's unlimited winning, and the winning just keeps on getting big. You know, one of the hardest things in Team Roar is to keep up with the amount of winning, you know? Because when you start making this much money this quickly, you start looking at other areas of your life and you're looking at your fucking income and you're saying, dude, my fucking income's going up, my fucking trading account's going up. And then you look around and you're like, dude, at some point when it comes to making money, you start realizing that the money you making is it's fucking like it's outranking you in life, you know? Like fucking like it could outrank in multiple ways. Like if you want to live a certain lifestyle that you're not living right now because you're just focused on trading, making money, or whatever, fuck, or even looks, you know, looks, appearances, or maybe you want to get fit or something like that. Like, dude, what I'm telling you is this company is winning so much, so big every single day that once you experience that and figure this out, you're going to look around in your life and you're going to be like, dude, I'm leveling up in finances and everything and the shit just keeps on going up, but you're gonna start looking around your life and you're gonna be like, oh my fucking gosh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta like, dude, people can get so locked into trading, they forget, like, should I even upgrade my lifestyle? Do I want to upgrade my lifestyle? Do I want to travel? Do I want to focus on fitness? But what I'm telling you is, like, in terms of scale and compounding, I've never seen, in terms of trading, like, this is very hard to keep up with. In terms of quick compounding winning effect, it's here. And when you have that financially, it spreads in your life, especially if you're self-aware. And then you really want to start upgrading your life. You know, you want to start traveling, and people can use traveling strategically. They can travel to certain places to get certain things out of business or out of themselves, certain experience, to gain certain insight or to gain certain things that people need. You know, maybe some people travel to one place because they need to create a plan, they need to think clearly. And the current place that they're in is very like loud and fun, and it doesn't allow them to do that. So they go on a little retreat, like to think or get spiritual or whatever the fuck. Right? Traveling gives you the opportunities to gain certain access to certain things that everyone needs at certain points in a year, whether that's a vacation, whether that's a reset, whether that's I'm going to take 2 weeks off, create a strategic plan, get away from everyone, be like a monk, whatever the fuck that is, right? I mean, you're going to see, man, like when you figure this shit out, you're gonna look around your life and you're gonna be like, oh my fucking gosh, I have a lot of fucking upside work to fucking do. Once you figure out trading your finances, you'll start looking around. You'll start being like, dude, I have all the options in the fucking world now. Fuck. Level up fucking living situation, level up fucking lifestyle, level up food, level up fitness, level up health, level up appearance, level up fucking every fucking thing. But what I'm telling you is like, in terms of out fucking pacing, this company is the foundation to outpace all of that fucking shit. You'll be making money so much fast. You'll be like, dude, oh my gosh, making this amount of money this much day. And then you're gonna look at your life, you're gonna be like, fuck, I got some upgrading to do. I got some work to do. Like your finances are gonna be outpacing your fucking life, man. I'm telling you, this shit's crazy, man, how trading works. Like, dude, there's been traders, they lock themselves in their room, they figure this shit out for a year, they turn nothing into millions. And then they look around and they see, oh my gosh, I've been in this room for a fucking year, not doing shit but fucking trading. And then they're like, dude, I got all this fucking money, but I gotta level up in fucking life now. I gotta do this, health, wealth, love, happiness, all these different things. It's fucking crazy, man. I'm telling you, once you experience this shit and figure this shit out, oh man, you're gonna be looking around realizing you have a fuck ton of work to do outside of fucking trading, man. But you know, having that foundation as finances is a very strong foundation, you know, in terms of certain access to certain things and certain lifestyles and traveling and stuff like that. But obviously people got to do the inner work too. They got to do the inner work. And the inner work can come before the finances. Most people never get financially successful because they never did the inner work first. You know, it's very important. And I genuinely believe that to do the inner work before you're financially successful. You know, most people who don't do the inner work first, they end up losing every fucking thing. You know, but the strongest foundation you can literally have is to actually do the inner work first, then do the outer work. Because people who do the outer work first and just level up through trading and just going outer, a lot of people tend to lose it all in that situation. Then they do the inner work and then they get it all back. But the strongest foundation is to do the inner work, then figure out money, rather than figuring out money, doing the outer work, and then figuring out the inner. And that could fuck with a lot of people. When you all you have is outer, all you have is money, all you have is lifestyle, all you have is outer stuff, right? Exterior. But when you go within, when you go inner and you realize you lack that, it fucks with a lot of people and it could destroy some people temporarily if all they have is outer first. So just remember that internal going inward is very, very important to get first before going outward. Um, and you know, before going exterior and stuff like that. Because it comes from within. And that's the strongest foundation. I mean, I think that's a stronger foundation than just having a bunch of money. Um, you know, if all people had was money and they didn't have any inner work, I would say that's a very miserable life. Now, obviously, you can get money first, then do the inner work, but I genuinely believe one of the best things in terms of what to do first, inner or outer, inner first, then outer. So, anyways, 689 calls for 32 cents. Shit went up 300%. Now look at this, man. I told you, we have the best company on the fucking planet. Living proof every single day. Look, SPX extravaganza YOLO session power hour after 3 p.m. 6925 SPX calls for 150 cents a contract. Add, double it. Shit goes all the way to fucking 1,000. Shit went to 700 at the speed of light. There you go. There's your 1,000% gain. And you added to the wins, which doubled it. So you would think that we're done, right? You would think after that we have a 300% win. We added to the wins. And then we have this win, 6925 SPX calls, 150 cents. Add. Shit goes to 710 cents. Look at this trade. 3:42 p.m., 6915 puts for 140 cents. In the money, 600 cents out. That's another fucking 600% trade. Oh, there's another one. Fucking 6920 SPX calls 175 cents. Shit goes to fucking 550. Dude, fucking nobody. Are you seeing these fucking trades, man? Look at these trades. 60 cents to 700. That's on SPX fucking calls. 60 cents to 700. Seeing this shit? Look at that. 92 cents to 600. That's on SPX puts. Calls and puts. 100 cents to 700 cents. You tell me. Who prints like us? Who's winning this big? This consistent? Every single day. Making losing a personal choice. Making green to red a situation where it means you're broke. Dude, if people are in our group, they need to cancel the group. And they need to stay far away from trading. It doesn't get more easier and simpler than this. You will not find another company on this fucking planet who reveals what trading really is, who exposes what the truth of trading is, who shreds through all of the misconceptions in trading, through all of the illusions in the market. It makes it so real, so fast, that you'll know if it's for you or not. And you'll quickly see what you're doing wrong with your trading. You know? This company saves traders every single day. It opens their fucking eyes and it shows them if this shit's even for fucking them. Just that alone is worth joining the group, even if you lost money in the group, because people need contrast. People need eyes. People need to be able to see and think, and people need to really see, and they need to be around something that exposes them, something so real that if trading's even for them or not. Think about it. People lose so much money in the market. They lose, but they keep on trading. These people losing money in the market, they don't even know if trading's for them or not. They just keep on trading, thinking they're doing some shit. You join this group instantly, within, I'd say 3 months, you'll genuinely know if this is for you or not. And that will save you a lot of time and a lot of money. Having that knowledge, having that experience. Wow, I gave this a real shot. I see these guys are the real deal, and I see that this just isn't for me. Maybe it's not for me right now. Maybe I'll come back in the future, but this just isn't it right now. And these people gave me the opportunity to see that. And they also gave me the opportunity to print. And that's what we do. You need to understand, we don't just give people the opportunity to get rich. And not everyone gets rich, no matter what you do, no matter what you give them, because trading just genuinely isn't for everyone. But when you have a group that actually allows people to see if it's for them or not, that alone is worth a lot of money, you know? And that's what our business does. It gives people the opportunity to see if trading is for them or not. It also gives the people the opportunity, for the ones who trade alongside us and figure this out and stick with it, to get fucking rich and to print every single day. You know, I showed you those trades, dude. This shit is unreal. You can't name another trader who shows up every single day and does this. You know, look at the results. 6/9/25. Look at this, man. Look at these 4 trades. 3:02 p.m., 689 calls, 32 cents. Add, triple it. Sold 120 cents. That's fucking 300% plus. 6/9/25 SPX calls for 150 cents. Add, double it. Fucking 700 cents. Another 500% winner. SPX 6/9/15 puts 140 cents. Shit goes to fucking 600 cents. 6/9/20 SPX calls for 175 cents. Add. Shit goes to 600 cents. I think we can all agree that what we're experiencing, what we're witnessing in real time is truly undeniable. You know, some people would say that this is unreal. Some people wouldn't even be able to face this amount of winning. They wouldn't be able to accept it because everything or everyone they've ever been around was nothing like this. They can't even like accept it, you know? How the fuck is that even possible? For someone to win that much, that consistent, that big every single day. Like, dude, this is normal. This is Team Roar. And it just keeps on getting bigger and better, you know? It's fucking crazy, man. Like the amount of results and the amount of wins and the amount of consistency, it genuinely is exposing. Because if you were to take our group and join another group and compare the two, you'd realize that there is no comparison. All of a sudden, comparison doesn't even exist. There's a one group and they do that, whatever the fuck they're doing. And then there's our group, and we actually trade, we actually print, we actually are the fucking best. Like, people realize that when you're at the absolute peak, when you're at the absolute top, when you're in your prime, there is no comparison. All there is unlimited fucking upside that no one can compare to. Do you understand? Comparison doesn't exist. There's levels to this game. You want to know what the top is? The top is where you lose comparison. It falls off. You no longer compare. You no longer, dude, people become so good in this world that there's nothing to compare them to. They're in their own lane. Even though they're doing something similar, what other people are doing, they're still in their own fucking lane, and they've created systems that are completely out of the fucking system. It's like we left the fucking matrix, dude. Cheap, low risk, far the money, zero rate options. We don't use stop losses. We put in our max risk per trade into the trades. You can make unlimited upside potential, and the most you can lose is your max risk per trade 100% of the trade. And the wins are much bigger than the losses, as you can see percentage wise, and also because we add to the winners and double to triple the size. And we don't go green to red because we set profit stops. Dude, how could anyone be red? Like, look at the fucking results, man. Every single day, members are killing it, crushing it nonstop, man. Unlimited winning, unlimited printing every single fucking day, dude. People are making the cost to stay here for an entire fucking year. Some members doing that every single week. We got multimillionaires here making fucking multi 5 figures. Some of them are making 6 figures a week. Look at the fucking results, dude. All we do is win. All we do is print, man. The fuck? It's unlimited printing. It's an unlimited winning nonstop. I'm telling you, man, you ain't gonna find another group out there that wins this big, wins that consistent, wins this much. It genuinely is, it truly is divine to be able to experience this amount of winning, and this amount of consistency. It truly is eye-opening. When you start winning this much, you start looking at every category within your life and you start seeing like, oh my gosh, I have so much more upside left. I'm not even in my fucking prime yet. Maybe in one area you're in your prime, but when you're going up that fast, you start to look at all the fucking areas and then you start to figure out, all right, I want to put more time into this area. And you start to do that because now you have money. Now you have stability. Now you have opportunity to actually scale financially in those other buckets rather than just maxing those out as much as you can put in with those buckets that allow you to financially do so. So, like I said, man, you ain't gonna find another group that's winning this much. We got members every single day. They're posting memes, um, you know, of the GOAT. They're posting memes at a scream. It's like, dude, this motherfucker, G-Roar, this motherfucker who wears the fucking scream mask, the mask don't come off. Like, this motherfucker, we're slaughtering every fucking trader on the fucking planet. Do you understand? Like, every trader on the fucking planet is getting fucking slaughtered, getting fucking murdered. Like, there's traders, they think they're traders. There's traders that think they're good. But if they came in contact with us, they realize all of a sudden, dude, I can't even compare myself to them. They're at a level so fucking high where comparison doesn't even fucking exist. If you're comparing yourself to people, it means that you're not at the top yet. Once you get to the top, comparison falls off and you start seeing, dude, nobody's in my lane. Nobody's scaling as fast as I am in my lane. Nobody is as rare, as unique as this group. Nobody's winning this much, this big, this consistent. And we do it on zero date options. You will not find a better zero date options train alert system on the fucking planet. We have a system. This is not just buy and sell alerts. Like, dude, you got to think. These quotes moving, other groups are selling, taking wins. Our group is holding, adding to the wins, making the biggest wins. And then when we're losing, when we don't time a trade accurately, it's like we're not even losing because we hold the trade 7 out of 10 times it comes back left and goes green. You know? Losses are so small because the most you can lose is 100% and the most you can win is unlimited percent, and we're winning more than 100% and we're adding to the winners. It's like losses don't even exist. They're just part of the process to trade, because the more we trade, whether we actually do have a loss or not, leads to bigger wins. Part of trading is having losses. Part of losses is giving you opportunities to win bigger and win more. Trading isn't all about timing. You think it's all about timing, but we're in situations where it's like, dude, if this trade isn't timed accurately, it's going to come back to life. It's going to go green. We're still going to print. We're not going to make as much because we didn't buy at the exact lows. But you know what? We'll buy another strike as it's dropping and we'll make even more. We're in a situation where if we don't time trades right, it puts us in a situation to have 2 wins because both the trades print because we trade the trend. And the second win is a lot bigger because we time it accurately and get a much better entry and go further out of the money. It's like, dude, we're in situations where we would actually prefer losing on certain trades because it's going to come back to life and go green. Or even if we do have a loss, it's going to set up for a better trading opportunity. Like, literally the answer is to trade, but you got to trade our system. That's the thing, man. So it's unlimited winning. It's unlimited printing. For those of you who are serious about trading alongside, it's like, dude, those fucking trades, this motherfucker went off. 4 massive wins like that, dude, fucking nobody, man. Like, this shit's, there's not another group on the fucking planet that's winning this much, this big, this consistent every single fucking day, dude. Like, this shit is money. This shit is unlimited money printing every single fucking day. So, is the first link down below within the description. If you would like to trade alongside us, I would really encourage you to join now. Get started for the new year. Tomorrow is going to be a simple, easy day to bank. You know, you should make back the cost of the group literally tomorrow. If you have a couple thousand to trade with, you should make back the cost of the group literally tomorrow if you trade alongside with us. And then Fridays are known for being our absolute fucking best days. But man, Wednesdays are our days too, where we go off. I mean, at some point, it's literally going to be every single fucking day. But I'm telling you, Wednesdays and Fridays, those days are fucking, oh man. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that's a good, that's man, we're hitting fucking hot. But yeah, man, everybody's printing. Everybody loves the group. It's unlimited winning. It's unlimited printing. I would encourage you to join us if you're serious about trading alongside us. Is the first link down below within the description.